All right, so my name is Brian Geyer. I'm a third-year PhD student in anthropology, and today I'm going to talk about a project that I developed alongside the Cultural Heritage Informatics Fellowship students last year, which I'm a part of this year. I'm working on something else, and it's this glorious-looking thing right here. Yeah, I know, right? So I've mostly abandoned the looks of this thing just because I undertook this project as a way to explore various technology skills that I felt I needed if I was to go out into the world as an applied anthropologist outside of academia and work for, say, some big NGO who wants to develop tech applications for rural populations. So the idea of this project originally was to bring together a number of open source tools to create a mobile application that would allow safari drivers in the Masai Mara National Reserve to look through, to visualize where tweets are happening about certain animals and therefore be able to understand at least where those animals have been seen in the recent past, which quickly fell apart when I realized that nobody was tweeting in the Masai Mara. Despite there's actually fairly good cell coverage in quite a bit of it, but nobody's tweeting. So anyway, what ended up happening instead was I broadened it out to Kenya, and this map will take a while to probably load, but as you'll see in a minute, there will be pins that pop up. And then this is a fully scalable project using a framework called jQuery Mobile for the up top stuff, and then the map itself comes from Mapbox, pulling from Leaflet Omnivore, like you saw before with the project that Dr. Watchroll presented. And of course, this isn't loading. And then also using a Google spreadsheet that I found from a guy named Martin Hoxie. And here is the blog post outlining it, and also his new version here, which has a nice upfront visual. But he calls it tags, and it's a Twitter archiving Google sheet. And this sheet is pretty cool. You go over to Twitter's dev, really app developers, and they have access keys to the API that you can sign up for. Give them your project name, you get a key. You come here, you throw the key into the spreadsheet, and this is the generic spreadsheet, and you set it up to search for specific keyword or phrase or whatever you want, and then it pulls all those and throws them into an archive, which right now is empty. Here is the version that I used, which I went into the JavaScript itself and retooled the sheet so that it would only pull tweets that had geolocation data, which you can see here, and then used its publishing feature to send it out over to the map, which still hasn't loaded, of course, which we checked beforehand. But you'll just have to, I know, right? You'll just have to trust me. You can also go to it on your phones, kenyatweet.matrix.msu.edu, or tablets, and if it loads properly, you'll get little pins you can click on, and then you'll get a pop-up that shows you the handle of the person that wrote it and the tweet itself. And all of this happens with tweets that were from, it checks every 10 minutes, and then it loads the last 20 tweets. So if people stopped tweeting with geolocated data, or geolocated tweets, then it would just keep showing those until they disappeared from the API. But because there are enough people, it usually shows the last like 20 to 30 minutes worth of tweets out of a radius around a point in Kenya. Now, if this was also loading, you would see that a number of tweets show up in Uganda, Tanzania, and even as far away as Rwanda, and I have no idea why. But anyway, the bulk of this presentation, though, is supposed to be talking about how to use this for research. And I'll be honest with you, I'm a little unsure of how to use it for research because I built it specifically to show what's happening as close to real time as possible. And that's a little unnerving when you think about it. But at the same time, hopefully people understand when they're tweeting that it's public, because can only grab public tweets. So they understand that when they say something and they have their location data attached to it, you can visualize where they are pretty quickly. I don't know if anybody got it up on their phone. No? All right. I don't know what's wrong with it. I'll look at it later. But yeah, so to talk about the tools in general, this map idea may not be so useful to research, but the spreadsheet really is. And what I've done is set it up to search for a single space to pick up as many things as possible. But you can set it up to search for hashtags or any kind of key term that you can think of, dump it into the archive, into this archive, and then keep as many of those as you want. And you'll create your own tweet archive like fairly quickly without having to go to any of the dozens of tools out there that many of them are like for purchase, which I found prior to finding this free one. And then it allows you to do any sort of analysis, including spatial analysis, if you're looking for the geolocation data. So you can see what people are saying and where they are when they say it, overlay various terms, see if there's correlations spatially, things like that. And this makes it relatively easy when it's working right to do all of that without cutting into your wallet, really, which is nice. This is pretty short, but that's about all I have. I can answer questions. Maybe I've been trying to think more and more about how this could relate to research. And so if people have guiding questions that they want to ask, that would be helpful as well. Or any thoughts about anything else. But yeah. Awesome. It loaded. Yes. That's so funny. So yeah, you click on them and it gives you, this is in Swahili, obviously. Yeah. And I know, right? So as you can see, though, they're showing up in Uganda. Actually, there's multiple tweets in Uganda. But it gets really specific, like down to people's houses. Yeah, so we know someone is standing right there and tweeting about Arsenal. Yeah, so that's what I had. All right, cool.